Okay, I believe we are ready to go. So we thank you very much, everyone, and welcome to our reopening for Hill Regional Career High School orientation for families. My name is Sean True. I am the principal, and I have a wonderful team with me. I have Ms. Kamala Williams is our magnet resource teacher, and I have our two assistant principals, Ms. Monica Joyner and Mr. Steven Ciarcia. This evening, we hope that you and your families are well. We are anticipating our reopening and our hybrid plan starting on April 5th. Although these are new challenges and certainly many opportunities and things have come about as a result of COVID-19, we look forward together to navigate the circumstances and the many unknowns as we continue to collaborate and work together. And we look forward to welcoming students, families, in particular our staff and teachers back into our buildings. And our main goal here is to make sure that we all stay safe, adhere to all safety protocols and procedures. And our primary goal is for all students, whether in person or remote, to be academically and socially and emotionally successful. So welcome back, and we look forward to our hybrid opening. Some session outcomes this evening. We hope that you take away from this session how we will reopen Career High School, two different learning options and learning expectations for both a hybrid and 100% remote. We're going to go over new operations and protocols, again, to keep everyone in the building safe. And we're going to go through some of these protocols with you this evening. First one, mask wearing and the 6-foot distancing guidelines. All students and staff are required to wear an acceptable mask upon entering the building. Students and staff must keep their mask on and in place throughout the entire day, regardless of how many people are in a room. Masks must be worn properly, covering the mouth and nose, not open at the bottoms. Students must maintain 6 feet social distance around teachers' work areas. It's very, very important to adhere to this, wearing your mask correctly, and certainly washing your hands before putting on your mask, putting it over your nose and mouth, secure it properly, and make sure that it fits appropriately. Here's some examples of acceptable masks for staff and students. Wear a cloth or disposable mask at all times. No gaiters, bandanas, scarves, or masks with valve vents. And here they show a nice picture of acceptable masks and also, on the contrary, unacceptable masks. Reopening of schools. So school will reopen in the hybrid learning model on Monday, April 5th. Families have chosen one or two options for their children to participate in, either the hybrid model or 100% remote learning. We've collected each family's decision on which learning option they have chosen for their children. If you have not indicated your choice, your child will remain remote. Please be advised if a student consistently fails to follow the health and safety guidelines that have been set to keep the school community safe, they will be transitioned to a remote plan, and the student's administrator will call home to discuss next steps with families. So here's an example of the learning models in action. So we have two cohorts, which will be explained throughout this presentation to you this evening. Cohort A and Cohort B, both hybrid. And then we have the other option, which is 100% remote. As you see by this diagram, Monday and Tuesday, Cohort A would be in the school building. And then Cohort B would be in the building on Thursday and Friday. Everyone will remain remote on Wednesdays. It's identified as a deep cleaning day for the school. And of course, if you are remote, 100% remote, obviously you will be home remote for all of those 4 days. So again, those are your options. Option one, hybrid learning. Students are assigned to either Cohort A or Cohort B. Students come to the building on their assigned 2 days during the week and stay at home doing online learning 3 days during the week. Students will engage in learning 4 days a week. Hybrid learning option. Okay, students are assigned to either cohort A or cohort B. As I had mentioned before, cohort A students will attend in person on Mondays and Tuesdays. Cohort B students will attend in person on Thursdays and Fridays. Cohort A and B and A days and B days have nothing to do with each other. The district mandated this language, so we apologize ahead of time for any confusion that this may cause. Regardless of a child's cohort, the child will attend all their classes as indicated on their schedule. Hybrid students can only attend in person on their assigned cohort days. When it is assigned cohort day for a student, the students will attend their classes remotely. And this breaks it down as far as cohort assignments by grade. So it came out to be in grade 9, if your last name ends in A through JE, you would be in cohort A. And if it ended in JI to Z, that'd be cohort B. Grade 10, as you can see, is A through LA would be cohort A, LE through Z, cohort B. Grade 11, A through LA, which would be cohort A, LE through Z, cohort B. And in grade 12, A through LA would be cohort A, LO through Z would be cohort B. The hybrid learning option. The expectation is that students come to the building to attend their classes on the days they are assigned. Students log into their live classes and homeroom through Google on the days they are assigned for online learning at home. Students will engage in live instruction 4 days a week. When students are engaging in the online learning at home on their assigned days, they have school obligation on those days from 7:45 to 2:15 p.m. Option 2 is the 100% remote learning. Students attend all of their classes online from home every day of the week. Students will engage in learning 4 days a week. With a 100% remote learning option, students in either cohort A or B can choose to remain 100% remote starting April 5th. The expectation is that students will actively attend advisory in all of their classes every day through the Google Meet and engage with their assignments through Google Classroom. Students will engage in live instruction 4 days a week. 100% remote students have school obligations every day from 7:45 to 2:15 p.m. General information. If you're requesting a learning option change, it needs to be done through this form on the career website, which you can find that on the website. Any changes will not take effect until the school calls you to confirm of the change, giving details and the date in which the changes take effect. The letter day schedules, A day, B day, will not change when we start on April 5th. The letter day schedule is as follows. Monday and Thursdays are A days. Tuesday and Fridays are B days. Wednesdays, they're flex days and office hours as they are currently. Okay, there's again the general information. The daily bell schedule will change slightly to accommodate transitions. The hybrid bell schedule is 76-minute classes. And here is an example. It runs through the periods through advisory every day from 7:45 to 8:05 a.m. And it goes through your periods 1 through 4 here on the A days, and then the B days obviously would be the 5 through 8. It outlines here the Wednesdays, which is remote for everybody. You still have advisory at 7:45 to 8:15, and then we have our virtual office hours offered from 8:15 to 11 a.m. And then also with clubs and meetings from 11 to 11:30. And then the rest of the day after 11:30, those are academic and a wellness block for independent work. Some mitigation strategies, good practices to stop and help prevent the spread of germs is the 6-foot distancing, the proper CDC guidelines here of washing your hands, covering your mouth, the cleaning and disinfectants, and things of that nature as outlined through this slide here. Some of the mitigation strategies include here: all people on school grounds will be required to wear face coverings at all times, cloth masks or disposable masks. The building is cleaned regularly with high-touch surfaces cleaned every few hours. Social distancing in classrooms and around the building as best as we are able to do so. Cohorting of students attending the school in hybrid learning to limit the amount of students in the building on any given day. These are new processes and protocols in place that continue to adhere to the safety of everybody in the building. So that concludes this portion of it. I'm going to turn the next slides over to Mr. Ciarcia.
Good evening, everyone. I was just finishing up some questions in the chat. If you do have questions at any time, please, we are monitoring that and we'll answer them as they come in or at the end. So this portion is screening, and what we were asking people to do is to screen at home. You can see that the parents and the guardians must screen their child every day before sending them to school. And there is a screening tool that can be found when you look at this presentation on our website. You can see that button where it says here. You can click there, or you can find it on our webpage or on the district webpage under the reopening tab. If your child does need to stay home, you just call the office as you would do when a kid stays at home, and they would just would participate in their remote session. And from there, they would, they stay home, and their symptoms should be then referred to the pediatrician or school nurse. So in the questionnaire, you can see that if the outcome of your screening questions are yes to any, well, then your child is to remain home. You call the main office and report the absence, and please share the symptoms of your child. And then you would call your pediatrician, as I just said in the last slide, and call the school nurse or the school-based health clinic for guidance. If they answer no, then definitely, if to everything, then please send them to school. They to report to school and make sure they have their mask and a water bottle before they're leaving the house. If your child does become sick at any point, the student will not be allowed to lay down as we've done in the past or wait it out. What will happen is the student will need to go home as soon as possible, preferably within 30 minutes. We will not be able to send your child onto a bus, like a city bus, or give them, the city bus card, like we have done in the past. And when you come to pick up your child, you can't come into the building, but you would just park to the front, and you can call into the office or ring the doorbell. Someone will come and bring your child to you at the door. If your child becomes sick, so there's some following processes that need to be followed, right? For your child to be at school. So what the teacher will do, or staff member will alert the nurse. The nurse will then put on the PPE as needed. Your child will be escorted to the isolation area. Your child's temperature will be taken, and then your child will remain in the isolation room. The school nurse will notify you of the illness and to pick up. And then your child is dismissed to you or to another guardian that may be listed as a person cleared to be the pickup person who has to be in power school. And then your child can return to school in accordance with the protocol in the next slides. So a student can return to school following the illness if the student has a fever free for at least 24 hours without any fever reducing medication. All right, and then any symptoms that the student had have completely been resolved, and the student has a note from a medical provider stating that the child is cleared to go to school, or the child has a document showing a negative COVID-19 test. No student will be allowed to enter school following an absence until cleared by the school nurse, and they will need to report to the school nurse when returning from an absence. The COVID-19 protocol is as follows. If there is a positive case of COVID-19, the school and the school district will follow a set of protocols to support the health department in contact tracing and notification to anyone who may be impacted. Closures will be determined by the health department and in collaboration with the superintendent. Contact tracing will be conducted as needed, and your cooperation is greatly appreciated so that we can keep everyone safe and have a healthy or be as healthy as possible. It is very important that if your child is sick and stays home, that you call the main office and make us aware that they are staying home and their symptoms so that we can take the necessary precautions to keep everyone healthy. And there's a free testing site. So if you go again onto our website and get to this presentation, you can click on that button and you will see the free testing sites that are available in the city. Nurse office, or what we call SBHC, which is school-based health clinic protocols. So setup of space. The number of chairs in the area are in the rating area are a 6-foot distance, so it's smaller. The signage is posted around for coughing etiquette and mask use and hand hygiene. There's hand sanitizer stations in the entrance of the health suite, and it must be based upon entry. There's a plexiglass barriers also have been applied where needed at the nurse and assistant's desks. The protocols go as follow. A teacher or staff must call in advance down to the school nurse or school-based health clinic, even if the student has an appointment. When sending a student down to the health suite, the school nurse will let the teacher know if the student can come down. Staff is not allowed to use the health suite restrooms, and every student with asthma diagnosis is required to have an asthma action plan, an inhaler, and a space in the school health office. Enroll. So we're really asking you to really think this year strong and hard to enroll in our school-based health clinic. At Career, we have a school-based health clinic, and you're not currently enrolled. We strongly suggest that you do that, and you could see you could either call this number again. You can pick this up after this presentation to their website, or you can click on that registration area. If you are enrolled in the school-based health clinic, make sure you update the information in my chart. So make sure you have your child's immunizations up to date, and those records have been communicated to the school nurse prior to attending school. All new students and 10th graders must have a physical examination by their pediatrician and submit a physical examination records to the school nurse before attending. Have updated emergency contacts in Power School, and we can update those as needed. So you can call into the main office, and we will help that. If you want to add someone especially to for help or pickup, we can do that as well. So just good communication all around there. Make an appointment to get your flu shot, and you can click there. And when you come back to the presentation, and then enroll in our school-based health clinic, as I said in the last slide, but update your info if you have already been enrolled. So now we're talking about transportation. First student, the transportation company is responsible for cleaning the buses. They will use a disinfectant, which is meets the EPA approval after every bus run. If a student appears ill while entering the bus, like they cough, they sneeze, they look unwell, etc., the bus driver will question. And most of you as parents are not at the bus, but the kids are old enough, so we're going to have the kids will probably be screened by the bus driver. If we notice that the student is saying yes to any of the questions, then the student will not be admitted into school or on the bus. And then what we'll do is they will let the school know of the questionnaire. No parent or guardian at the stop. The student will be separated as able during transport and brought to the school's nurse's office upon arrival. So if there's a concern that we don't want to leave your kid out in the street there, we may, and we can't get a hold of you there, so we'll bring them to school, but we'll bring them right to the nurse's office. So we're not just going to abandon them on the side of the road. New Haven Public Schools provides bus transportation for all students living more than 2 miles away. If you have questions, you'll see there's call the transportation department. It's right there, 475-220-1600. And then the school does not manage transportation. It is not done. This is done purely by the district transportation office. So there is an update. And people are probably going to ask this question: where is, I don't have my bus card, or I haven't had an updated one. What do I do? Well, the bus cards are being mailed this Thursday, the 25th, and the cards will include on them the bus letter or number, a location of pickup and drop off, and the times for the pickup and approximate drop off. Is that building updates and oh yeah, that's me too. Yep. Okay, so building access and updates. So access to the building. This is non-negotiable. There's no visitors allowed in the building at any time. There's no exceptions to this rule. No family members, friends, volunteers, etc. Unless you have a New Haven public school badge, no one is allowed to access. If a parent or guardian needs to pick up a student, they can call the main office, and then they would wait in their car for their son or daughter to come out. We're going to keep the front of our building clear throughout the day, so you would just come to the front. If you can't use the phone at any point, you just ring the doorbell and we'll answer it, and then we'll bring your kid out to you. And someone will probably come with your child. After 8 a.m., so students, as usual, for ninth graders who may not know, the students enter from the back of the building over by the cafeteria. Buses drop off there. And then after 8 a.m., though, that door is locked, and then all students that are going to come in the building after 8 will enter from the front, and they will use the doorbell. Upon arrival, all students must enter the building and remain until dismissal at the end of the day. No going to stores or leaving campus in any way, shape, or form. Further updates, our HVAC system has been inspected and the entire system has been cleaned. I've seen it myself. Every single vent has been vacuumed out. And the vents and the returns have all been wiped down. Ceiling tiles have been replaced or fixed. And we're using what's called a MERV 13 filters. It's a very good filters, which our school can handle. They've been installed in the fall. And even though we haven't been using the building with everybody in it, we plan to update them every 6 months, so they will be updated in the spring. The ventilation system will be circulating outside air throughout the building at 80%. And just to give you a heads up on that, when I mean 80%, so we are familiar with the building bringing in outside air around 20 to 30%. It'll now be bringing outside air of 80%. And as it brings in outside air, the air first goes through the MERV 13 filters and then comes into the building. So it's filtered before it gets into the building, and then all air exits out. So we're bringing always new air into the building. All right, building updates. The traffic flow is two-way in the hallways. So arrows and we have tape down the center. And pedestrian lines have been placed on the floor of the hallway. Basically, what we do is like we do in America when we drive in the cars, we stay to the right. So if everyone stays to the right, we can pass. There's various signs throughout the building. Some of the signs you'll see is no mask, no entry, social distancing protocols, signs of symptoms in COVID-19, and then no entry for visitors. And then there's an entry, exit, and arrows. We do have some masks in a case of emergency, but we ask everybody to come with a mask, especially if they're on a bus. They wouldn't be able to get on a bus without one.
Good job. All right, so new protocols for health and wellness. Obviously, washing your hands. We've been in this for a year now, so everybody knows what to do. We're just saying it because we have to, but we are aware that every single person on this call knows these things already. Hand sanitizer. There will be hand sanitizer stations throughout the building at the entryway and on the different floors. They will be located at tables on the floors. Students, of course, will be expected to use hand sanitizer. And I will say, just like I said to a group of 10th graders that I met with, personally, if it was me, I know I will be bringing my own hand sanitizer that I will have with me at all times to be able to use, because I would not want to leave everything up to someone else. And I apologize for the noise, but yes, baby. But I do have a 2-year-old sitting here. Hand washing, of course, we need to wash our hands as we've been doing it. Again, we've been doing it for a year. So you should definitely wash your hands after using the bathroom, use the hand sanitizer. At any time, if you feel like you've had things on your hands and you want to wash them, then you need to go to the bathroom to do that, then that will be permissible. Bathrooms will be cleaned at least 3 times a day at 9, 11, and at 1. Cleaning log will be maintained. There's a limit on the bathrooms of 3 students at a time. We will absolutely make sure that the custodial staff will make sure that there's an adequate supply of soap and paper towels and air dryers that are also in use. the way, I'm sure if you've gone to different public arenas, public spaces, you've seen that they may cover a sink so that there's space in between. They may have made the stalls such that you can only use every other one. That's the same type of thing that we've done in our bathrooms as well. And of course, signage is placed just to remind the students. All the water fountains have been turned off and covered because this, of course, was a health risk, which is the reason why we're asking everyone to bring your own water bottle. And of course, make sure that it's plastic because we don't want to deal with any glass breakage. Bring that with you to school every day. There will be water provided during breakfast and lunch in the cafeteria. So there is space for you to get water, but you make sure you bring your own just in case you would want it throughout the day because we don't have access to the water fountains. We're not using lockers at all this year, and the high touch areas will be cleaned frequently as well. Just to reiterate the mask policy and the mask situation, everyone over 2 years of age, which means all of our students are over 2 years of age, so every student needs to wear a mask. If there is any particular medical exemption, then we would need to have that information. It needs to be on file and approved by our nurse's office and by the health department. Anyone who's forgotten a mask, like Mr. Ciarcia said, we will have some masks available, disposable masks for the day, but we're hoping that people will not forget their masks because this is something that, again, you need to, if you're riding the bus, you absolutely have to have your mask on. This would only be for people who are potentially walkers or who get a ride to school who may potentially forget a mask at home. Mask breaks will be given during breakfast and lunch outside by the cafeteria. And in the cafeteria, the setup is that there are dividers on the tables so that separates people. So there's plexiglass in between each person so that they have the freedom to have their mask off and eat, obviously. So mask breaks will be given at those times. And if one is requested, the student only needs to ask their teacher. Teacher will call down, someone will be able to either tell them where to go or come to get them to make sure that we put them in the proper space. And again, just a picture of the masks that are acceptable versus those that are not. Again, reiterating the mask wearing, 6 feet distancing. We do know that there is consideration at this point to move to 3 feet distancing, but we have not yet been told that that's what we're doing. So we're still set up for the 6 feet distancing at this time. At such time that it changes, then we will make the adjustment as necessary. As always, following the guidance of the CDC and our city and state health departments. Just a reminder to people, again, we know some of you are probably thinking, we know this stuff, we've been doing it for a year. We just feel like we need to absolutely say it out loud. So just to remind people of how to take off their masks when they're at home, here are the instructions for that. And, you know, of course, to wash your masks. This, and by the way, this particular presentation will be available on our website. If there's anything that you want to go back to revisit, then you will have access to that. Eating breakfast. So as I just mentioned, the CAF tables have been set up with dividers. There will be one-way traffic flow at breakfast and at lunch so that we don't have that people crossing each other in close proximity. Everything will go one way. If a student decides that they don't want breakfast, then they will be relocated to the gym. The gym is the overflow. So because seats are limited, there's a limited number of people that can be in the cafeteria and maintain the distancing. Only people who are actually eating breakfast will be actually in the cafeteria. Everyone else will be moving to the gym. And the tables will be wiped down after each use. Same thing with lunch. There's going to be 2 lunch waves right now because we are going to be cohorted and everyone is not in the building. Lunch waves will be split up into 2 during each cohort with an hour in between so that the cafeteria and custodial staff can make sure that everything is clean and sanitized. Classrooms again have been set up so that they are 6 feet apart. All students have to bring their laptop and charger back and forth to school. That is now your mechanism for everything, because keep in mind, Those of you who are in school, that's just part of the class. The rest of the class is at home. Therefore, the teacher will be still delivering instruction through the laptops, even though you're there to actually get some personal attention. So instruction will be delivered through the laptop so that people in the school and people at home will receive the same message. If for some reason you need to charge your laptops overnight so that you have a full charge when you get to school, if for some reason you forgot to do that or your laptop dies, there will be power strips provided in each classroom that would be plugged in either front and back and just will be in the middle of the class for you to be able to plug in. But also understand that the power strip is not for you to charge your phones. These power strips are only for you to charge your laptops. And a reminder that students and staff, everyone must maintain a 6-foot no-fly zone around the teacher's desk. That is that teacher's space. So it's just like you're maintaining 6 feet between each other as students, we also need to protect the space of the teacher. Everything, parent meetings, PPTs, student meetings will continue to be held virtually because there are no spaces that will enable people to gather in a small space to hold a meeting and still maintain that distancing. So all of those things will continue to be virtual. Athletic events are going on now. They will continue to go on just as they are. Mr. Giardini is our athletic director. If you have any questions about that, you can contact him. And the district parent advocate, parent liaison, Danny Diaz, has been sharing video streaming of sporting events so that parents and families and school communities can watch. Now, we anticipate that at this point there may be some questions. So we've put together a list of questions that are most frequently asked with the responses to them. Hopefully we've answered quite a few in the chat, but just kind of a recap of what we've talked about. The learning options are either hybrid or remote. Can you change your mind on the learning option? Absolutely. If the child has chosen to be hybrid and wants to move to remote, that can be an immediate change. You just kind of have to let us know. But if the child is remote and is choosing to become hybrid, that's something that we need a bit of time just to make sure that the space is such that everyone is able to come back and be safe in those environments. There is a learning request change form that will be put on the website. It's not there now because we haven't even started, but once we actually start, yes, baby. Once we start, the learning request change form will be on the website. You just go in, fill that out. It will be checked at the end of each day just to see if something has happened, if someone has submitted something. And as soon as we're able to make that change, then we will reach out and let you know this is the date that your child can come in. The question about changing cohort. Well, can I change my cohort? No, there are no cohort changes. We understand that Imani, come on. There may be people that want to say, oh, well, my friend is in cohort A. Can I switch to that one? No. The only reason that a cohort may be changed is in the event that there was an error made and there are siblings or people who live in the same household who are on separate cohorts. That's the only reason that we will make a change. And if that is the case, then you would email me, and my email address is here, with that information. If you find that again, you have siblings or cousins or family members or whomever who are living in the same household that are on separate cohorts, you just need to let us know and we will adjust and let you know which cohort they will all be assigned to. If your child happens to be absent on the day that they are supposed to be in school, they cannot go on a different cohort day to make up that absence. They can only attend school on what is their cohort day. And I'm not sure it was mentioned earlier, but if you're wondering, outside of us telling you which letters of the alphabet are the cohorts, if you go in Power School, it tells you which cohort you're in. So if you look in your child's Power School, it'll say cohort and it'll say A or B. So you don't have to necessarily remember which letter of the alphabet. Just look on PowerSchool and it'll tell you which cohort you're in. What happens if a student takes off their mask? You know, sometimes the student may forget. We'll just remind them, sweetheart, you need to put your mask back on, and ask them, do you happen to need a mask break? If they say yes, then we'll contact the office and someone will come and bring them to the area so that they can actually take a mask break. If they say no, my bad, I just forgot, we'll just ask them to put it back on. No big deal. If for some reason your young man or young lady decides that they just don't want to wear their mask, they're just going to consistently keep taking it off, then that means they've made a decision that they're going to go back home and stay on remote until such time as they can follow the guidelines, those health and safety guidelines of keeping on a mask. So we put these things in place, obviously, to keep everyone safe. And oftentimes in any situation, people are like, well, this is not a life or death thing. It could very well be in this case. So if the guidelines are not followed, then those young people will just be remanded to remote learning. And we'll talk with parents and come to some type of agreement, meet with the parents and the students. And if they decide, okay, well, I realize my bad, can I have another shot? Then we'll give it another shot. But understand that they will be going home on remote if they can't follow those simple guidelines. Emergency protocols remain the same. Fire drills and lockdowns will happen as they have in the past. The only difference with the lockdowns for students is instead of everyone all gathering in the same area, they will still have to maintain their social distancing and just stay at their desks with the doors closed behind locked doors. And that, my friends, is the end of our slideshow.
So I want to thank everybody for joining us this evening. I know that we've monitored the Q&A and also the chat during this orientation for families. We hope that this information was useful for you. We first and foremost hope that you and your families are safe and doing well. So this concludes our presentation this evening. We've addressed questions and so on and so forth in the chat and also in the Q&A. If there are any other questions that you may think of afterwards, you can certainly email us or call us at the school. This will also be on our website, a presentation that we gave out this evening. So if you want to revisit it at another time, you are certainly welcome to do so. At this time, we thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day and evening to join us, and we hope that this information was helpful. And we certainly look forward to coming back into the hybrid model starting on April 5th. And we hope that you have a terrific evening. So thank you very much on behalf of our whole school, our administrative team, Mr. Ciarcia, Ms. Joyner, our MRT, Ms. Williams, and everyone behind the scenes who helped put this together, our teachers and staff, and our families. We're very excited, and we thank you very much, and we wish you a pleasant evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms.